righteousness back into our guts just to hear us scream. The choices we made in hell had aftershocks we are only now beginning to understand. How would history paint us for the path we'd taken? How would it paint Eru? Eru made his choice out of love and despair. I can hate him and still understand why he did it. And how it made him the devil's perfect tool. Another twist to the blade of righteousness. Perhaps Eru believed it was all worth it. The Hantu and the spirit realm were spared from Mephisto's touch. But that only meant they were cursed to watch the rest of the world wither. In the age of hatred to come. Beloved shepherd of the light, after eternity of vigilance, you are betrayed, and by your own flock. Pity. Now the wolf shall rise anew. Wrapped in the guise of man, I shall walk amongst the innocent. And there will be no salvation in the light. Who touch the stone meet the same fate.
No! No! I need more time! I just need more time.
Time? Nothing in those scrolls will save you, Neyrelle. But I can.
I want nothing from you.
You've seen what awaits. You are a part of me. But I can make better use of you.
I have seen what awaits. I will stop you!
I am untouchable.
You think you have power here?
I could do this for an I don't see that you have a choice, but I'd like you to say yes.
You're right. I am a part of you. I was trapped in your mind. You dream. And when you do, an ocean of twisted horrors floods your mind. I saw the sun blotted from the sky. And the darker it got, the brighter the rage of man burned. Hatred would reign. I was lost. But in that chaos, I found your greatest fear. And I will tell everyone.
Oh, child. What could I possibly fear?
And the weak were made strong. The pack of lambs would feast on their shepherd.
The prophecy? Oh, be careful, little one.
Then comes a spear of light, piercing hatred's heart.
No.
Raised to the ground by a murdered son.
Stop.
And a daughter.
Stop! I command you! You could have been so much more. Oh, what have you done? What have you done? Let them come.
Let them rise up, feeding the flames of unrest. It will not matter. For I am
And the light and the way.
No, mamá, me mueves el aire para abajo. Ajá. Un poquito más para abajo. Ahí está bien. Sí. Thank you.
true. Akarot walked these streets.
You look troubled, old man. Perhaps the wisdom of Akarot can bring some light into your heart.
Perhaps my boot can bring some light into your arse. Bugger off, will you? I was hoping to find you here, friend. Knew you'd be on Akarot's trail. Where have I been? Too damn far. I was chasing leads, looking for knowledge, relics, anything to contain Mephisto. In the end, it wasn't enough. I just wanted us to have another way forward in case things didn't go as planned.
They didn't. We could have used you in Nahantu.
I know how it turned out. The Soul Stone. Mephisto taking on the guise of Akarat.
Neyrelle told you?
In a way, yes. That's why I've been looking for you. She sent me a letter. There was one for you too. Here.
Your hand is trembling.
Just read the letter.
Hello, my friend. I wondered what I would write to you if this moment ever came. I thought about sharing my research, the things I had discovered. But a pigeon can only carry so many words, and what I want to say most is this. Thank you for believing in me, even when I didn't believe in myself. Thank you for giving me hope.
Why did she send this? Where is she?
Not far. But we should find a place to sit down and we can...
Just tell me what's happening.
It's better if I show you. Come with me. This way.
What is this place?
An old Kegistani archive. Neyrelle found something here. A lead. A way to stop Mephisto, to break the cycle. That's how she put it in her letter. I came here as fast as I could. I thought I'd find her huddled over scrolls, but she's dead.
Dead? What? What happened?
He got to her. He took her from us. I've said my goodbyes. It's your turn now. Go on.
Neyrelle. I thought you were free from his grasp. If I'd known you weren't, Damn it. I will make Mephisto pay for this. I will make that bastard pay.
We both will, my friend. We both will. When I found her here, she looked at peace. She didn't fear him in those last moments. And neither should we. You want to make Mephisto pay? Then we need to know what Neyrelle discovered. I tried searching for clues earlier, but I couldn't focus. We'll do it together.
It's been 7 days since I saw Mephisto in dreams. My symptoms are worsening. This feeling like my insides are being pulled apart. I thought I had rid myself of his presence. But maybe he was always lurking here, waiting. Maybe this is all a cruel game to him.
The spear of light's piercing hatred's heart. She figured out Rathna's prophecy is more than just rubbish. So, Mephisto is bound for the Skovos Isles. And Neyrelle believes a weapon lies there that can stop him. One forged by Lilith. It makes sense. Skobos is where Lilith and Inarius created mankind. Could be where she created this weapon, too.
Neyrelle also wrote something about an oracle. The hand that can open the way.
Oracles, prophecies, riddles, all the things I try to avoid. But I can't. Mephisto came here for her, and he tried to burn away any trace of what she'd found. That means she was onto something. That means she died for a reason. And that means it falls to us to finish what she started. That is how we honor her. Gather your supplies and meet me in Backwater, somewhere far from his prying eyes. I'll book passage to the Isles. Go on ahead. I'll give Neyrelle a proper burial. I'll take her to the vault. Next. I think she would have wanted. It shouldn't have ended like this. Nothing
It's been 7 days.
It's done. Neyrelle is at rest. Aye.
Damn it, will you shut up?
Sorry, it's our old friend, the Tree of Whispers. Ever since I stepped foot in the swamp, they know what we're up against. They can feel it. A change. They're reveling. They can kiss my arse. We have a primeval to... Yeah. I made this talisman to help Neyrelle. I hope it did. In some way. But it's yours now. For whatever awaits us. I secured a place on the ship. Meet me at the docks.
Hate has poisoned this world. But beware those who sully Akarat's name. They walk these very docks. Don't they, old man?
Me?
Yes. Do you truly seek Akarat's favor? Or are you driven by darker impulses?
No dark impulses in this heart, my friend. I only seek the truth. Don't worry about the preacher. He's just another fool. What troubles me is this talk of an eclipse. Mephisto's planning a spectacle of some kind, and I'd wager it'll be much darker than any of these people expect. No use talking them out of going to Skobos, though. They adore Akarat. And the scariest part is, it's no spell. Mephisto won them over with real miracles. He's playing the part of benevolent prophet. And playing it very damn well. Once we get to Skobos, we'll need to act fast. Come on, let's get aboard. Not this time, no. Believe it or not, I'm rather close to the Amazon Queen of Skovos. Her name is Adriana.
How close?
As close as a Rajan can get to anyone. We haven't seen each other in years. She'll remember me. I just hope she remembers the good things. We'll need her help to track down this weapon made by Lilith. But time is short. Mephisto is days ahead of us. He'll have a foothold on the Isles. And if all else fails, I brought something for that too. The Sightless Eye. It once belonged to the Oracle of Skovos, and Neyrelle thought she might be able to help us. Not sure why or how, but...
There you are! The old man with not a dark impulse in his heart. And the stranger with something unspeakable in theirs.
This fool again. Mind giving us some privacy?
Nothing is hidden from his eyes and ears. Even this vast sea is so small compared to him. And we are even smaller. Just little people in little boats swept up in the tide. And my master, he is the tide!
Spitting all sorts of vermin. No. Just scared out of my wits. I knew we should have bought the cat aboard for good luck. No one would listen to me.
You can bring the cat next time. Stay here while we clear the way.
We can't reach the armament! Nothing to run it over them! It's not just this one piece. There's something moving under the boards.
Stay together.
Now, take your breath and... help me down. Get the rest of the deck.
You were those fiends from the deep. That's clear. But...
That creature made a mess of things. You'll have to climb your way up, and I'll only slow you down. Go! I'll help the crew keep the ship afloat. Otherwise, it won't matter if we find that bastard.
I give my blood willingly, Mephisto. I open my soul to your hate. Aren't we both so fortunate? Where he goes, the whole world bends around him. He spoke of you. Oh, he admires you and hates you. I wish that he... Ah!
Friend. I'm glad I could see you one last time. Though it is a shame you will not witness the things to come.
below deck. Come on, it's safe. Not all of his followers are sheep. He's using these hands of Akarat to do his dirty work, while he keeps up his benevolent image. He knows we're after him then. We'll need to move fast. Let's get the crew together and patch up the ship. It won't be long before we reach the Isles.
Land ho!
Wretched monstrosity! What have these mainlanders brought to our isles?
About your bloody Akarat. You can't dock here!
All these people, like lambs to the slaughter. No time to waste.
That beast. Akarat spoke of evil things.
Akarat is truly here. To gaze upon his face this closely, we are blessed indeed.
Pilgrims, make your way to the plaza, where Queen Adriana will welcome Akarat with open arms.
The way is closed.
Queen Adriana has welcomed us. That gives me heart. There is much good we can do here.
This Akarat. He appears, and we're just supposed to blindly follow him.
City's still standing. He needs Tanis and its people, at least for now. He'll try to win over Queen Adriana first. He can't get his way unless she's on his side. Or silenced. I need to find her. Warn her. I helped to defend Skovos once before. With any luck, she'll listen to me. Keep an eye out for the hands. They seem to know what Mephisto's planning. See if you can find out.
Today, our spears serve
The kindness of an angel.
But here we've traded gold for service.
Feeding their seasickness all over the city, trailing diseased rats.
And what would Akarat say?
He'd say sorry.
Sorry for what, dear?
I'm sorry for calling your dad.
Knows what she's doing.
Have faith, brother.
So, you admit you worship demons?
No, we respect demons.
Back the way you came, traveler. I could send out a unit, shore up our defenses.
The oracle was clear. A dark age comes for Skovos. This thing cannot be fought with steel alone.
Nor can it be prayed away. Is it really wise to entertain this prophet?
I'd be a fool to make a martyr of him with all his sycophants in our city.
And?
And what?
And a small part of you wants to believe him.
What's that line? Rare is the sunlight that dares to dance the lake bed. You see through me. Oh, Thara, between the famines and the wars, madness swallows sanctuary. What if this madman is our answer?
Let's see him for ourselves then. Though we'll be without the Oracle. I just got word she won't be attending.
Seen 3 oracles come and go, and only this one has dared to shirk her duty to our people this many times over.
Damn. Mephisto has the Queen's ear, and they've yet to even meet. Lorath should have come this way.
or something, as the infinite flame shield requires for you to be hitting things. So this is just a good baseline, and there's not really a better chest anyway. Technically, you can Raiment of the Infinite if you want to group enemies. That
Re-rolling charms is insanely powerful in this game because you can get very good stats on your charms. For example, ranks to your skills. Plus 3 ranks isn't a lot of damage. On average, it's probably 9 to 11% damage depending on how many ranks you have. But that adds up quite a lot when you have 6 of these things, right? And this is very, very good, particularly early into the game. If you need to gain your 5 set often drastically increases your power. For me, it's like over a 200% damage increase, but also it gives you a lot of functionality for certain builds. So what you can do is, as long as you just have any version of this, of like whatever set it is that you want, you can sit here and re-roll it. So let's say that I want I want the chain set, right? That's what I'm using. What I could do here is I slam it in here and I click re-roll. Re-rolling it is going to keep it as the same type, so it's still a chains type, but it is going to change the name of it. So if I have like 3 chains items, but I'm still missing, for example, Phoba or Beru, I would pretty much just sit here and spam until I got Phoba or Beru. Additionally, once you actually have all the ones that you want, you could then sit here and try to re-roll it until you got some favorable stat outcomes, which the best would be ranks to whatever skill it is that you have. So for me, it would be Abyss skills or Demonology skills. And I would just check the tag on your skill. So for example, Hell Fracture benefits from Core, Occult, and Abyss, so it doesn't benefit from Demonology. But Dread Claws is a Demonology skill, so it would benefit from it, etc., etc. So just check whatever your skill is, and then that's what you want. Next to that, other good rolls include resistances. So you can see I have pretty much resist plus Abyss skills on almost all of my charms. And then if you can't get ranks of skills, other things that are good would include all stats is decent, or percentage resistance. You cannot get percentage resistance and Abyss skills though, or like skill ranks. You also can't get all stats and skill ranks. And you can also get percentage life and percentage armor or percentage resist, and all of those are good outcomes as well, but ranks of skills is going to net you the most damage. Another thing is that your charms can actually roll Ancestral, which will increase the roll range on them. So for example, let's see if I have one here. So this one is not Ancestral, so the resistance caps out at a total of 523, but if I have one that, let's see if I got one here. This one is Ancestral, it caps out at 630 resist, so that is another way that you can optimize around it. And also, these can roll with greater affixes. I don't know if I have any on me, but in theory, you could sit here all day until you got one that rolled, oh, there you go. That's bonus XP, but it could roll +4 into your skill, and then, that's like an ultimate chase, having +4 on each slot, which the only really good way to achieve this is by just spam re-rolling here. What I'd recommend doing, though, is the only way to get the material in order to actually do this is the Infused Ferrogic Resin. As far as I've seen, the only way to get this is salvaging talisman, charms, and seals. So even if it's something that you don't want, I would recommend picking up almost all of these, because then you can just go over to the Enchantress here, or Occultist rather, and then you can salvage them. So usually what I do is if I find a good one that I like, or one that I want to re-roll or something, like this one's good, Ranks of Skills and Lightning Res, this is actually a good replacement for me, because I gain 100 Lightning Res over the Poison Res, so I would favorite this one. I just read through all the other ones that are garbage, and then I just click, I just salvage all of them, basically, and then I do the same thing for seals. And then another thing that is particularly useful for seals is early into the game, it's going to be hard to get one that has +6 charm slots, and that's what you want because your set costs 5, right? And then you want to pair it with a unique one early into the game, right? So what you can do is you are going to pick up all sorts of these +5s. Somebody told me that someone else told them that you can only get +6s by doing this. That is not true. You can get 6 charm slot ones just dropping on the ground. That's how I got mine. But there's a pretty decent likelihood when you slam 3 of these in here and then you do a 3-to-1 transmutation that you end up with one, there you go, with one that has 6 charm slots. So earlier into the game, I would highly recommend doing this, and it's also a good way to try to get a good roll on your seal. Good rolls include crit damage, all damage, max life, percentage resource, attack speed, ranks of skills, and then like sigil skill damage or something would be good as well. Keep in mind that the top roll will always be active, but the bottom roll is going to be linked to a set. So mine is attack speed, but I only get that if I have the Chains 5 piece. if I were to use a different set other than chains, the attack speed would not be active. So for this one, this one here, I would only get the ranks to Hellfire skills if I was using Flesh of Abaddon, or the Sigil Skull damage if I was using Rite of the Nameless. But this is also another good thing to do, and it makes it worth it to pick these up. You can also salvage these, and they give quite a lot of material as well. Also, for whatever reason, these sell for 13 million gold each, so if you're like super broke and trying to reroll, I would recommend actually just straight up vendoring these, and you get a lot of gold there as well. But obviously, if you don't have a 6 charm slot sealed, then, you know, make sure to do that first, because that is a huge power gain. Okay, I think that's it for charms and talismans. Next thing that's very easy is if there are certain ritual runes that you are missing, for example, ones that are in your guide. Typically, like legendary ones are the only rare ones. You should have access to infinite of the other options, but basically you can just guarantee craft anything that you want in here. So if I needed Vex, I was on Sork and I haven't gotten to Vex yet, well, all it cost me is 5 legendary runes of ritual. So it would be 5 of these type. I only have 3 on me, so I'm not going to do it, but then you'd also just put 5 of any other rare rune, so then you could just separate 5 here. It won't use all 17 of these if you do that. And then also it costs 1 Gar. So then I do that, and then boom, it would spit out a Vex. So just keep that in mind if there's a rune that you're missing. Now the next thing that is particularly useful before we get into the mess that is crafting is amalgamation. Amalgamation is good is because you can basically turn multiple of a certain type of item into something else. There's a whole list of all the things that you can do here on, on Maxroll. So for example, you can turn 5 of any Nightmare Sigil into 1 Escalation Sigil. This is probably the best thing that you can do with this, because Escalation Sigils are very potent and normal Nightmare dungeons are kind of dog shit. So I would just slam in 5 random ones, then boom, spits out an Escalation Sigil. So that is pretty useful. Other ones include, what is this? Is this Copilot? Get the hell out of here, dude. Other good ones include, I think I can do this here. So if, let's say I have a whole bunch of tributes, right? And ideally what I want is, I want a mythic tribute of armaments, right? What that requires is 5 greater tributes of armaments. Well, I don't even have 5 greater tributes of armaments. How many do I have? I have 3. But I do have a shit ton of normal tributes of armaments. So what I can do is slam these in here, and then I will turn 5 of these will turn into a greater one, and then I can turn the greater one into the mythic one. And you can do this with the lower rank ones as well. So a lesser tribute of ingenuity, it's still worth picking these up, because then you can turn it into, you know, the lower tier, and then you can buff the lower tier into the higher tier. This will just make doing your Undercity run significantly more efficient. Another useful outcome from this is the gems. So if you get 5 grand gems, you can then turn one of them into a Herodric gem, and this is a significant difference. You can see that a normal grand gem on armor is only 18% barrier gen or 2600 shadow res, but then a Herodric one is 25% barrier gen and 3500 shadow res. That is nearly a 50% increase for both of those stats there, which is pretty significant. The next thing is that if you're doing a lot of bossing, you'll likely notice that you end up with a crap load of these boss trophies. You don't have to overthink this really much. Simply just, if you do this boss, it'll give you a boss trophy. There's nothing else to do with these other than to just sit here and transmute, and it will just give you items that boss drops. So there you go. There's not really a way to farm these. There's not really a reason to farm them. It's just simply something that will happen while you're just playing the game. So that's what you do with boss trophies if you happen to see them lying around. All right, now let's talk about crafting, because crafting is extremely powerful in this game, and you can make it to where you basically have perfect items on your character. Let's say that there's 4 affixes that I want on my gloves, for example. Willpower, all damage, vuln damage, crit damage. I can basically guarantee, not basically, I can guarantee this outcome if I know how to with the cube. And it is actually quite simple. Where it gets tricky is when you add in greater affixes, and in certain videos, people have talked about locking greater affixes. I'll have a separate section where I talk about that, but the use case for that, 90% of the time you won't be doing that, and it's very particular item types and roles that you will be doing that. When it comes to crafting, the most important thing to understand is the tuning prisms, because this is going to determine how your craft actually works and what it is that you're adding, removing, re-rolling, etc. So the way that the tuning prisms work is, let's say that I have this one here. It says this is a adept tuning prism. It is used to target skill and core set affixes during transmutation. So the only thing that this is going to give, if I plop it in here and I just have some random item, I'll just go get some random crap from the purveyor here. So this is just a very quick example. If I just have this little gray item and then I slam in the Adept Tuning Prism, the only options I can get here are going to be skill ranks or core stat affixes. And on a dagger, you can't get ranks of core skill or skills, so the only thing it's going to give me is willpower. I know this 100% of the time. If I add this to a dagger, it's going to give me willpower. Here is a list of all of the potential outcomes from the different tuning prisms, and certain outcomes are, like I was saying, not possible on certain item types, and you will simply just learn this by just playing the game. I've played the game way too much, and for years now, so I kind of just know all of these in the back of my head, but you can easily reference this when crafting if you'd like. But in the example that I gave, Adept Tuning Prism, like I said, the only two options it has is main stat, so for me willpower, or skill ranks. But on a dagger, it literally can't give you skill ranks, so every time it's going to give me main stat. And there's all these different tuning prisms. So there's aggressive, which is going to be your offensive stats, so that also has the option of giving you main stat, so keep that in mind. There are going to be some overlaps, particularly just aggressive with main stats, and then also defensive and resistance, which is called chromatic. Like the defensive one has specific res, and so does chromatic, so there's a little bit of overlap there, but otherwise there isn't too much overlap. And there's aggressive, pragmatic. So aggressive is like all offensive stats, so you know, weapon damage, attack speed, crit, damage multis, more importantly. And then pragmatic is going to be mobility and utility, so barrier gen, CDR. Yeah, there is thorns too, so there is overlap there as well. So there you go, I just learned something. Just a whole bunch of random garbage is mobility. The main ones you're going to be using are going to be aggressive, protector, and adept. And protector is like, you know, armor, DR, max life more importantly, and all resist. And then of course resource is resource. So I'll just do a few example crafts for you guys because that's honestly how I learn best. I'll just do multiple crafts and kind of just guide you through the process and what you do. So I'll just remove the affix on this. Let's just start with a complete base and I'll just try to craft my ideal item. So I'll just open a random build guide that I have. Shout out to me. I make build guides. You guys should follow them. They're like really cool and good. All right, what does this idiot say to put on your weapon? So I'll just pretend that I have a one-hander here. So this guy says I want life on hit, crit damage multi, and willpower. This is decent early game. Late game, you'll definitely want different stuff, but okay, let's do that. So if I want willpower here, what's nice is the only outcome I can possibly have is willpower. So I can simply just add that on real quick. Might as well. So I'll do the Adept Tuning Prism, boom, add affix. The next thing that this clown says is to get max life and life on hit. So what I will want is I will remove the Tuning Prism and I will add a defensive one. On the dagger, the only defensive things that you can get are life on kill, life on hit, and max life, I believe. So my chance of getting what I want here is extremely high. But even if I don't get it, so I got life on kill, right? I don't want life on kill, that's bad. My guide says I want life on hit or max life. So all I have to do is click focus reroll. Now that the prism is in here, it will just reroll the the life on kill. Because this is a protector tuning prism, it cannot reroll the willpower because the willpower is a core stat, right? This is only going to reroll within this pool of affixes here, right? Within the protector. So if I reroll this, it is guaranteed to get rid of the life on hit, and boom, it swapped it to max life. Awesome. Now I'll do the same thing because I still want life on hit. So I'll do that, and it gave me life on hit. Sick. Let's say that it didn't give me life on hit. Well, I could simply just do the focus reroll again, and then there's a chance that it hits the max life, but that's okay because then I could just simply hit it again and 50-50 over and over until I get the outcome that I want. So, you know, I keep getting unlucky here, not getting the combination that I want. I want it to hit the life on kill. Okay, I want it to hit the life on kill. It's not hitting the life on kill, but you could just do this over and over again. You could saw I got it like, you know, initially. And there you go, I got max life, life on hit, that's what I want. Now I would like to add a damage affix. So I can, because on the guide, it tells me I want crit damage multi. So I will do the aggressive one because on Maxroll, that's where it tells me crit damage is an aggressive one. So I will add a offensive, and then we got damage over time multi. Now what I can do is the same thing, just reroll. However, this has a chance of getting rid of the willpower. So it got rid of the willpower. So in this case, that's okay. I will just simply reroll until I hit crit. And I actually have two options or opportunities of hitting the crit here, which is technically, it technically makes it better to add the willpower later on, but I'm just doing this as a demonstration. So I'll just click focus reroll, and it's just getting rid of either the willpower or the fizz damage or whatever else it rolls on here. And I would just do this over and over until I got crit damage multi. There we go, we got crit damage multi, and I happen to keep willpower on. If I didn't keep willpower on, all I would do is just focus reroll again, and then I could remove one of the damage affixes and then add back on the Adept Tuning Prism to guarantee give me the willpower. But as you can see, that wasn't very hard, didn't really take very many materials, and I have exactly the weapon that the planner tells me to have. I got max life, life on hit, crit damage, and willpower, and you can do this for any item that you want. Best items to actually do this on, though, are going to be ones that are greater affix, because you can get, white items all you want, but greater affix items are really where it starts getting good. So for example, let's just say I have a dagger that has just one stat on it, and I would like to get, I already have willpower greater affix, that's great. What I really want to get on here is probably maximum life, and then I want crit damage multi and shatter damage multi, let's say. So I can guarantee the life because there isn't any life affix on here, so I can just add on life real easily. So I'll just add on the protector, boom, boom, and then we'll see I got life on kill. Well, all I have to do is reroll that until it hits maximum life. There we go, very easy. So what I could do here is just do exactly like I did with the previous dagger, where I just add offensive until I eventually get the combination that I want, being crit damage multi and shadow damage multi, but that requires me to do multiple focus rerolls, and because willpower is in the same bucket as aggressive tuning prism, as you can see here, we have main stat in the aggressive tuning prism. That means that I have a chance of accidentally re-rolling my willpower, and that's the reason that I'm using this dagger, is because of the greater affix on the willpower. So in this case, what I can do is I can lock the willpower as the greater affix, and you'll simply just learn this by doing this more. So it has to be rare first, by the way, until you can use it at the occultist. So I'll just add a quick affix as offensive. That's perfectly fine. It doesn't matter. I can reroll this infinitely if I want. So I got weapon damage. That dog shit. I don't want that, but that's okay. We'll fix it. So what I can do is I'll slam this in here, and I will click on the willpower, and this will make it so that the cube can no longer reroll this if I decide to reroll aggressive. So I'll click enchant, boom, boom, no change, and anything that you enchant on an item, it blocks for the purposes of the cube. So if I try to do focus reroll and I do aggressive tuning prism, under normal circumstances, if I didn't lock it, I could reroll that off, and then it would no longer be greater affix, and that's the whole reason I'm using this item. But if I reroll it now, I can do this over and over and over again, and it will never hit the willpower. The willpower is just locked in place. So I can do this over and over until I eventually get the outcome that I want, which would be, there you go, I got crit damage multi. Okay, now I'd like to add another affix to it. So I'll do that. And I got weapon damage, not ideal, so I'll just do focus reroll, and this can hit the crit damage multi off, but I could just, in theory, do this over and over until I get shadow damage multi plus crit damage multi, and I'll just do that just to demonstrate that you can. It really did not want to give me that combination, but I'm happy with this. All damage multi is effectively the same as shadow damage, and I have crit damage multi. The downside of this is that you cannot reroll anything else past the willpower, and the willpower is already greater affix, so it is at its maximum roll range. So for example, I can't enchant it to swap the crit damage to try to reroll that over and over to get a max crit damage roll. However, this is fairly inexpensive. You get a lot of these tuning prisms. If you need to know how to get a lot of the materials, what I would recommend doing is the Cursed Undercity run. Sorry for all the inventory spam, I'm an idiot. But if you just do the Tributes of Ingenuity, these gives you an enormous amount of materials for the cube. So you could just spam stuff, and it's a lot cheaper than it is at the occultist. The only scenario where you want to lock a greater affix in place is if you need to re-roll that item for the same type. So let's say that on this item, the only thing that I wanted to add to it is life. There's no reason for me to lock the greater affix in place. I could simply just go to the occultist and then click boom, and then I could swap out the resource cost for life, and then I'd have the item that I want. But let's say that instead of willpower, I actually want that to be life, and then instead of resource cost reduction, maybe I want it to be crit chance. Well, in that case, it would actually be worth it for me to lock the crit damage multi, and then I would sit here and spam aggressive tuning prism reroll over and over and over again until I got crit chance, and I kept my shadow damage multi, or it swapped to all damage, and then I could just replace the willpower with life deterministically by just clicking focus reroll, and then doing the same thing with the tuning health prisms. And because nothing else on the item counts as a defensive or a health aspect, I would just guarantee only hit the life over and over again. I've seen a lot of people lock greater affixes for effectively no reason, just because they saw it in a video. Hopefully that makes sense. There's only specific scenarios where it is relevant. Otherwise, if you can just simply make the item that you want, it is a lot more efficient and makes more sense to do that. So for example, on this item, there would be no reason for me to try to lock any of the greater affixes, because all I have to do to make it perfect, it has 3 GA on it. All I have to do is just swap out the fire res, and then I can get what I want. I got a few items here that'll just give you guys more examples with. So because this item is a 2 GA, let's say that instead of the willpower, I want it to be more like my gloves, where it's all damage multi, and then it's a vulnerable damage multi, and then I want to keep the lifeline. This is actually a very good candidate for locking the affix. Because the max life is life, I'm not at risk of rerolling it when I focus reroll damage, but I am at risk of losing the crit damage multi when I'm wanting to focus reroll damage. So this is a good option here. I will lock the crit damage on this one, so then it just stays like that. Boom, boom, it is still 63%. Then we bring it on over to the cube, and I will focus reroll, and I will do aggressive. And then I can do this over and over again at no risk of hitting the life. All right, so now we got damage on it. Now, ordinarily, you'd think we'd be in a pickle, because you can see that I have max life, and I have life regen, and you would think, oh, well, I have to use a protector prism in order to get I have to use a protector prism to try to focus reroll, get the life regen off, but then it's a 50-50 between the life and the life regen. This actually can be an outcome that you'll run into, and in this case, it would have been the same difference for me to take the item to the occultist and just pick one stat, and then I just deal with the dead stat. Well, if you happen to reference the list, you will learn that life regen is actually a utility as well as a life one. So in this specific scenario, I can use a pragmatic tuning prism, and I can focus reroll, get rid of the life regen, and make it, I don't want to focus reroll actually, I want a chaotic reroll. This is where chaotic rerolling comes in handy, is because I can now swap the life regen to a different type of affix. So ideally, I get it to swap to damage here, so I'll do chaotic reroll, and it's going to swap it over to just something else. So it swapped over the life regen to crit chance, which is now perfect, because now it is offensive. If I got unlucky and it hit, what else could it even hit? It could have hit maybe, I don't even think you can get life on hit. Maybe if it hit a resist, but even if it hit all res, I would have been bricked. But if it hit a specific resist, then I could have just used a resistance prism and then swapped the two. It also could have hit armor, and then it would have, it's not bricked, I would just then have to take a 50-50 chance when using the pragmatic or protector prism, because then it could accidentally hit the life, right? But I got lucky, it hit damage, so now I can just focus reroll off the damage, the crit chance, until I eventually get all damage multi. So right now I got Vuln, crit, and shadow, which is basically what you want on your gloves. And you can see these are pretty nice. They're 2 GA, so crit damage multi and max life, and vulnerable damage and shadow damage multi. So those are looking pretty good. I'll quickly demonstrate a more defensive item. So for example, this is 2 GA, which is like a perfect candidate. What I would like to do this is I would like to add armor ideally, and then maximum resist. So the first step that I will do is I will add affix, and I will do a protector prism. And this is simply to just hope that I get armor or life, but also to add an affix onto it so that I can actually work with it. So I'll add an affix, it'll bind it to my account, and I got life on kill. Life on kill is useless. Does life on kill roll in anything other than protector? No. So if I were to try to reroll it right now, which is what I'd want to do, the only thing that it's going to do is it's a 50-50 between hitting the life and the life on kill, and the life is why I want to use this item, right? So what I'll do again is add another affix onto it to try to hit the armor or something, because then I could just reroll the life on kill at the occultist. So I'll add an affix, and I got lightning res. The thing about lightning res is that you can use a single resist. So for example, the chromatic here, and then I could do focus reroll. And if I did focus reroll, it would just spam it as a resist, but if I did a chaotic reroll onto it, it can swap it over to armor or to all resist. Chromatic tuning prisms are only specific resist, but protectors is all resist or specific resist. If I did protector right now, I would have the chance of getting rid of the life, which is what I don't want to do that, but I got resist, so I can hit the resist, right? So I'll do a chaotic reroll. On the lightning res, I got thorns. Thorns is a utility, so I can swap that out. And we just hope to get armor, basically. I got another single resist, so then I can do this again. Chaotic reroll on the shadow res. And we got all res. Awesome. So, because I got lucky there and I got all res, you could do that outcome over and over again, and until you get something that you can't swap, like it could be another protector thing. For example, if it had dodge chance, then you would basically be bricked, and what you'd have to do is you'd have to go over to the occultist, and then you would lock the life in place, right? And then because the life is locked in place, then you would just reroll gamble protectors over and over and over again until you got the good combination. But because I got lucky, then now my item is basically done. I have life, willpower, resist all elements, and then I can just put on my armor here, guaranteed. Bada bing, bada boom. And there you go. One thing when crafting defensive items is resist all elements is very good. but it is very rare when actually re-rolling at the occultist to get resist all elements because items have certain weights to them. So for example, armor is weighted very high. It's very easy to get armor or life or core stat, whereas resist all elements or skills is a much lower weight. The cube seems to ignore this weighting, and you have as equal a chance to get resist all elements as a specific resist. So theoretically, it is more efficient to try and get resist all elements via the cube and then have your occultist reroll be something like armor or life, etc. It seems intimidating, but honestly, the more that you mess around with this, it becomes very easy, and you can like guarantee a lot of outcomes. And you basically just use this to kind of as like a little bit of a cheat sheet, but it makes it to where picking up blues with just like a single greater affix on them is very valuable, and simply just gambling at the Purveyor of Curiosities is very good as well. If an item doesn't drop with the affixes that you want on it, that's perfectly fine. You can kind of mold it into what you want it to be, which is a great part of the cube. The last thing about the cube is transfigurations, which I was talking about before. If you don't know what it does, it effectively locks an item in place and makes it so that it can no longer be altered. So for example, my helmet here, it is transfigured. If I were to try to add sockets to it, or change the temper on it, or change the masterwork crit, I no longer can. It is completely stuck in place. The only thing that you can do with an item that is fully transfigured is you can remove sockets, but you cannot add sockets to it. So this is like the last thing that you want to do. Now for amulets, amulets are special in that they have their own little transfiguration, which is separate from the normal transfiguration. And normal transfiguration, it just locks it in place, right? And it has a chance to become, it's almost guaranteed to become unmodifiable, like 95% chance. And then it gives you a random outcome. So a lot of the outcomes are like indestructible. Here I have resist all elements. Here I have crit chance. On my Starless Skies, what did it do? It can like greater affix. It can give you quality. It can give you damage multipliers, percentage stats. There's a lot of different things. The absolute best outcome that you can get, at least I've seen on weapon and on chest and helmet, is gem strength, because you can get gems. Like my flawless here gives me 32% shadow multi. It can roll gem strength of 200%, and then that would multiply the shadow multi by 200%, bring it all the way up to 100% extra damage, which is insane, but it is extremely low likelihood. So to get like the absolute best weapon, in theory, I would buy a bunch of Spine of Pathomets, roll them over and over and over again, make sure that they have everything that I want on them, and then I would transfigure spam until I got the gem strength. That aside, for amulets, you have the option to, with these Kalean tuning prisms, add an additional aspect to the amulet. So for example, you can see here with the little icon, I have a chance to gain ferocity when I crowd control an enemy or a boss. And if I do this, you can do this over and over and over again until you get what you want. So I got the overpower one, that one's not bad, and you just do this over and over. And the only aspects that these can roll are the utility aspects. So if you go over to the occultist here, I'll just click on these boots. All the aspects that you can get on your transfiguration through the cube there are simply just going to be the ones that roll here. And they will actually roll higher because it is on the amulet, so it has a higher value. So for Warlock, for example, aspect of Deeper Shadows will be pretty good on amulet because it will then be able to go up to a total of 9. So keep that in mind. But then once you do that, you can still modify the item. So that seed that I was rolling, I can still modify this. I can still do whatever I want to it. But if I do a raw transfigure, it will lock it in place, and then you can no longer do anything with it past that. So keep that in mind. You always want to make sure that your amulet has a good transfigure on it that you actually care about when it comes to the Kalean tuning prisms, and obviously make sure to not accidentally click the wrong button, because then you just ruin your item. That's pretty much going to do it for the video. It was a pretty long one, but hopefully it was detailed enough to where you guys never have to watch another cube video again, and you fully understand of any unique charm.
cannot be in the wilderness.
Yes, I do.
The Eclipse pity the unsaved, for they alone will suffer!
Wait. One of Mephisto's servants. I need to find him.
You can see it in the sky.
An eclipse is coming. So what?
The eclipse heralds a new beginning. You haven't seen the madness we've escaped from. Tell me, pilgrims, what have you seen?
Babies born backwards!
Rain as thick as tar!
Dead livestock falling from the sky!
It's all over the mainland and it's coming here next. But Akarat will lead us through the eclipse and into a new age.
Damn you!
Give me back my daughter.
The child has made her choice.
and boom, it crafted me a Rustbin.
No! He sent us to ascend! He's watching right now from the plaza above. His hate moves us, speaks through us.
He will open us. He will make us new.
pilgrim comes to our shores. Let him wash in the waters, so that he might prove himself worthy of the sand.
Many of you walked with me to the fires of the mainland. Now, your faith will be rewarded. The pools of creation, the path to a better future, is near. And by the grace of Queen Adriana, we will reach it.
Adriana. Adriana.
Lorath? Now, of all times?
It seems a new pilgrim has joined us.
Listen. He's a demon. The mainland burns because of him.
Lies.
You're in danger.
I don't understand. The people say he's a saint. What proof do you have?
You have my word.
As a Horadrim?
As someone you once called friend.
That will be enough.
Afraid I'll spoil your show?
Not at all. I barely knew you existed until today. But now you've stepped onto my stage, and you thought there would be no consequences. You are but a man. And men are just so small.
No.
Enough! I have brought blood to this city. Blood and hate. No more.
You really are what they say.
Show mercy. We must all show mercy. My queen, let him walk free, so that all who look upon him will be reminded of what hate can do. It is in our nature to hate.
Loreth.
And that is why I've brought you here, to change that nature.
By the order of our Queen Adriana, the Horadrim Loratnar is hereby exiled from the city of Themis.
Madman! Murderer!
Leave him be.
Filthy bastard!
It is by the grace of my queen alone that you still draw breath. Never sully her streets again.
As you say. We came here as saviors, and now we were the villains. That was Mephisto's game, to pit mankind against itself. Time was running out, and so were the friends we had left. I saw it was... I walked right into his trap. This is how he wants me. Confused, panicked, with the blood of my friend all over my own damn hands.
So what next? We can't give up now. Nerel died to get us here.
You're right. You're right. What's done is done. Nerel said to seek the Oracle. That's why I've logged around the Sightless Eye. Let me try to get my bearings. If memory serves, her sanctum won't be far. inflict a terrible mark. Brigands, just outside the capital. The Amazons I remember would never have allowed it. But they're spread thin. Adriana has staged the bulk of her forces in Temes. She was never one to play so conservatively. Things have changed here. What would have been the patrol? Blood still fresh. Strange. These are trained soldiers. How'd this happen? Sheer numbers. That's how the Dullards got it. I see anchors up ahead. That's their foothold. Let's cut them loose. One of the old Amazon distress. Damn thing should be a blade. It's strange. Never heard of the Queen addressing the city without the Oracle at her side. She should have been on that dais. But she wasn't. Maybe Mephisto's hoping to weaken Skovos by driving apart its leaders. Not far now. Let's hope the Oracle has answers.
No use. The hives are too dangerous. We can't afford to lose anyone else.
Without the draft, the visions are starved things. You step into my shadow.
I saw it was his.
So what?
Let me try. You picked a terrible mark. Brigands, just outside the capital. The Amazons' island. Oh no. Speaking of Amazon. What would have been the strike? Sheer numbers. That's how the gods got him. I see anchors up ahead. That's their foothold. Let's cut them loose. It's strange, but she... Not far now. Let's hold the Oracle hands.
Sunless sky. Torrent of hatred. A deceiver. Wolf in sheep's clothing. Blood and light our only hope. The images are getting stronger.
Ah. Here is the one who has plagued my visions. Alive and well, at last. I've seen you die.
Then you
I
decide.
know that
Wait.
it's time.
Hold on.
you talking about? She passed, right? So she's got strong Nen abilities. She can escape if it gets rough. She's keeping up better than I thought she would.
Their stamina isn't half bad. Well, for a couple of brats anyway.
You ready?
Please help us! We beg you! The disease is spreading. It starts with a mild fever, but then it gets progressively worse and worse until the afflicted finally dies.
All we can do is use medicine to keep the fever at bay. Sadly, the medicine only works for about a week.
It's also incredibly expensive, and now we're completely out of money. We're all sick, so we can't even steal what we need like we normally would.
Could we catch it? It's probably just part of the gameplay.
Help us! My son only has 2 or 3 more days to live!
Would you be so kind as to give us some money? Every little bit helps.
So this is part of the game too, right? Yeah. If we just give them the right amount of money, then they'll probably reward us with some good items or some information. So, how much do you guys need?
80,000 Jenny.
But that's all the money we have. Yeah, it sounds like they know everything about us, doesn't it?
Excuse me, but I have enough to cover the 80,000, Jenny.
Excuse me, we're busy, so shut up for a minute.
I'm gonna kill that brat!
Okay, we got it. We'll give you the 80,000 Jenny.
You really will?
Thank you both so much! You've just saved my poor son's life!
I'm so cold. So very cold.
This is awful. If his body gets even a little bit colder, he's going to die before we can get the medicine into him. If only we had some children's clothes for him. Why don't we have clothes?
I guess I could give him what I'm wearing.
Can you really?
You're just like angels sent to us from heaven. Mere words aren't nearly sufficient
to express the depths of our gratitude.
Oh, no need to thank us. Unless you've got items or info. We got nothing! We gave all of our clothes away and now we're totally broke too! Damn it! They're messing with us!
I wonder what that was all about.
But as soon as we get past this mountain, we'll find lots of monsters, right? Yeah, if we beat a few of them and turn them into cards, we can sell them for cash. And then we might finally get to start fighting! Time to see what you've got! You too! I want to see what you've accomplished in your secret training! I can't wait! This area's really rocky. Let's go for it! Yeah! Whoa, there are tons of them! Cone's attack didn't do anything? I guess punches aren't gonna do it. And there are so many. To disable one with a single attack? Bingo! We go for the eye! Look! Gone! Just aim for the eye! I got it!
They're moving around way too much, but otherwise not bad.
They were weaker than they looked.
Yeah, but after we left it alone for a minute, the card reverted.
We can do this easy, Gon. Every one of these monsters comes with a built-in weakness. Just gotta stay calm and think. All right. Now let's head for Masadora.
Yeah! I'm okay. See? It didn't even hurt. This one's pretty weak.
Yeah, but it's really fast.
Let's hurry up and catch it!
Damn it!
Aim where it's going to be. If you watch closely, you can learn an opponent's pattern of motion. Your eyes are sharp, but you aren't using them properly!
It got away from us. You know, if the rest of the monsters are this weak, we're gonna get to Masadora in no time.
Ugh, don't be so stupid. What if you encounter one that's strong and fast?
Are those bubbles? It's gone. It's loud, and it generates a shockwave, but there's no real damage.
The red ones don't pop when you touch them.
Actually, the white bubbles pop when they make contact with a human's aura. The red ones pop when they make contact with anything else. To catch that horse, you must identify which bubble is which, and then switch smoothly between Zetsu and Ten. Unfortunately, that's still too difficult for them. Still, these boys are... They're just... wasting their potential! They're rough gemstones that will shine with just a little polishing. But at this rate, they'll run into stronger players or monsters and it'll be... game over!
Now this one looks a lot tougher.
That's it! I've had enough! Gyo!
Huh?
Keep your eyes on it! Use Gyo! You know how, don't ya? See? The armor's just a puppet! Attacks aren't going to work against it!
Here it is! Look, I got the card!
So you guys can use Gyo. Then why didn't you use it before, huh?
Well,
Yeah.
You forgot, didn't you? Don't just stand there! Yo! Tell me what you see.
the number one.
Very good. Now listen up. When I raise my finger, I want you to use Gyo. Then yell out whatever it is you see, alright? The same applies if you sense anything suspicious. Use Gyo. Got it?
And what makes you think you can order us around?
I see the number 5!
Correct. You, give me 200 push-ups.
Huh?
It's your punishment. Get to it.
Hey, what the hell? Why should I?
Got a problem?
Yeah, you bet I do. Just who do you think you are, huh?
I forgot. I should introduce myself. See, I'm a pro hunter. The name's Biscuit Kruger. And 40 years ago, I learned Nen, and now I'm going to use my knowledge and experience to give you some much-needed coaching. You should both be eternally grateful.
You learned Nen 40 years ago? You're just a hag!
As luck would have it, the young girl following Gon and Killua is actually a veteran professional hunter.